Hi, I'm John Aldrich out here at Bravo Manufacturing. You know, when you're looking for a new wall tent, one of the first things you ought to consider is what type of stitching is in that wall tent. Today I'd like to talk to you about those two types and why it's so important to choose the correct one. Okay, the two types of stitching are as follows. Number one, the lock stitch. In any brand of tent, if it has lock stitch in it, it will be far superior to the other brand of tent that does not have lock stitch but instead has chain stitch. Let me show you the difference between the two when you get a good look at it through your lens up close. Let's take a look. Okay, here's a look at the lock stitch. As you notice, you're going to find that you have a stitch on top, and it goes down through the seam and locks up, comes back up, and there's another stitch all the way down, both sides like this. That is a good look at the lock stitch. It looks identical on the top as it does on the bottom. And let me show you with my fingers how that actually looks locked up. Okay, so what happens is the top thread, the needle, and the top thread come down through the seam. They come down through the seam, it hooks up with the bottom thread. That loop, the hook comes around with the thread, and it hooks the two threads together. It locks it together. Ideally, right exactly middle of the seam, halfway between the bottom and the top, halfway between, it locks together. It's not coming loose. That's there to stay, okay? That is really how the lock stitch is formed. That is a superior stitch to a chain stitch. And let me show you why. Okay, so on the top side of the canvas, we're looking at the bottom side right now. The top side of the canvas, the stitching looks identical to what you saw on the lock stitch. But the lock stitch locks up inside the seam. This one, on the other hand, does not do that. This is the bottom side. It looks quite different. You notice it's much thicker right there. This is all chained together. This chain is not down inside the seam. It's laying on the bottom side. So for example, if you were to go on the inside of a wall tent and you look up on the roof, on your body panels, what you're looking at right now is what you would see, okay? And let me show you what happens with a chain stitch. Okay, so watch this. If you have one of these come loose, and it's quite common actually for me to repair these different tents that come in for chain stitch problems. As you know, we repair all the different brands. We repair grommets, zippers, stitching, etc. But this is one of the things we're going to repair. And as the stitching, a guy will say, listen, I want you to repair, you know, I got some grommets that come out in a windstorm. We got a zipper that blew out. I would like you to fix that. But I also have a seam that's ripping out in the middle of my tent. And that has to get fixed before I can hunt next time. Can you repair that for me? Well, we have the equipment here. We can do that. And here's what I'm repairing. Watch. If you have one of these threads come loose, you know, it doesn't get sewn right in the machine, which is quite common. And you have a thread that comes loose. Well, watch what happens. You just pull on this thing, and it's like a feed bag. See it unraveling? Look at that. It just continues to unravel. Okay, can you imagine being in a windstorm on your hunt? You've been waiting for however many years to go on, big time tag, what have you, and you have a seam that was not sewn right. Things didn't hook together correctly, or you cut it in one way or another. Maybe you had a brother-in-law along, who knows. And so you get that seam opening up, and watch what happens. The whole thing just comes right out. Can you imagine that? Look what happens now. Your hunt is in serious, serious trouble. So next time you're in the market for a wall tent, that is one of the first questions you ought to be asking. What type of stitching do you use in your wall tent? Do you use lock stitch or do you use chain stitch? You decide what's better for your application. This is John Aldrich, Bravo Manufacturing. Thank you for watching.